Hello everyone and welcome back to another day. I'm in the office and the aircon is broken. Prepare for some sweat. We've got Avengers news, Xbox news, Konami news, we've got Spoderman news, all this and more after the drop, a sweaty drop. Okay, the game is on, okay? Let's just see how long I can do this before I start sweating. Let's give it a go. First thing first, Avengers. What a success that game has been. Now, we all know that it was the highest selling game in September. It also beat Tony Hawk and Mario 3D All-Stars for the top place for the highest selling game in September. So I thought, of course, they're heading in the right direction. They've got a big old player base to start with. It's a live service model, and we all know how much we love those these days. But hey, if it's going to be such a big player base at the beginning, this might have a very bright future. But how wrong we were. But we already kind of knew that there was going to be trouble arising. The reveal event, when they pretty much just talked about microtransactions the whole time instead of actually showing and talking about the game. The Avengers beta in August really showed that there was huge problems. A buggy mess, an all-round lackluster experience in terms of it being fun, and the general reception was, this ain't it, Chief. But hey, it's Avengers, okay? It's superhero stuff. Everyone loved 2018 Spider-Man. I thought, hey, maybe this can be good. Maybe they just need a bit more time, even though the beta was a month before it actually was released, which we all know they can change a huge amount in 3 weeks, right? But regardless, a lot of people were optimistic. I was optimistic to see what this was going to be like when it was released, and of course, it didn't go so well. I think the Metacritic score says it all. 67, just 2 points off 69. Am I right, guys?
You're a fucking idiot.
And 5.1 on the user score. So it really didn't seem like a lot of people were enjoying this game. And once it was released, regardless of how big that player base was, it didn't seem like it had a lot of legs in it in the long term. But we really didn't know how much this was a failure or a success for Square Enix until recently, where some actual figures have been released. David Gibson, a Japanese-based industry analyst, had said this on Twitter. Square Enix reported a 6.5 billion yen loss for HT games driven by Marvel Avengers. Would not say how many sold, but the volumes were 60% of plan, implies game cost over 100 million to make, but only sold 3 million or so. IGN went on to further clarify that it was closer to 5 billion yen, which was about 48 million US dollars. That's a lot of money to be losing on one of the biggest releases I think they're going to be seeing. It continues, Marvel Avengers, it looks like the total cost of the game is closer to 170 million or 190 million, given they only expense 70% of the cost in the GTR plus marketing costs. Why someone didn't say stop post the multiplayer beta will remain a mystery. Square are adamant they can make a recovery. Now they do want to make a recovery. We know that they recently pushed back their DLC. Kate Bishop, the first DLC player, was actually pushed back, as well as the next gen versions of Marvel Avengers that was also pushed back too. So not only are we seeing some really bad loss figures, we're also really not seeing any real content coming out for at least the foreseeable future, but they said that they're going to try and get it out before end of 2020. But when your game is in this state, you really try and get as much content out as possible, especially when it's not looking good on all fronts. Having said that, I do think this game can come back. Now, we had a buggy launch, we had a buggy beta, a poor monetization strategy where some of these, legendary skins and the legendary emotes were 14 US dollars for a full price game. Let's not forget that too. But this game can come back, and I hope it does kind of come back, because a lot of people did enjoy it. I was in the camp that I thought that the combat wasn't that fun, and it really didn't make me want to stick around. Having said that, a lot of people did. A lot of people paid a lot of money for this game, so I hope that they get their money's worth in the future. In other news, the Xbox. Who is excited? It is the day that I believe it's going to be coming out for a lot of you. I already had mine, but I didn't get an Xbox Series S. I did not get an Xbox Series S. Screw you, Xbox, how dare you send me only one free console. But all jokes aside, a lot of people are excited for this. I'm very excited to see what they do with this, and I'm very excited for all the exclusives coming, am I right, guys? Although the exclusives aren't really there at the moment for Xbox, there are some exciting things to look forward to, of course. We've got the PC integration with all first-party games not only being on the Xbox, they're also going to be on the PC. That is a promise that they've made. We're also seeing Gamepath be extremely successful, and I'm sure that will continue to be successful. We've seen EA with over 60 games now on Gamepath, which it's just getting bigger and bigger, and they also recently bought Bethesda, which I'm sure we're going to be seeing some exclusives from that in the future. But all in all, the Game Pass that you are getting right now is still very valuable. Project xCloud is another thing that we are seeing now. It's releasing slowly around the world. It's not coming to Australia for a hell of a long time. We all know this. But these are some of the offerings that I do think are going to put Xbox in a very valuable position and a competitive position against PlayStation 5. But with the Xbox Series S and the compromises it makes, it also makes compromises in the storage. And in a world where Call of Duty is now 250 gigabytes, storage matters, okay? Now with the Xbox Series S, you are getting 512 gigabytes, but it has been revealed after system memory and actual space it needs to, for the actual operating system, there's only left over 362 gigabytes. That is pretty much 60-something% of it will just be a single Call of Duty game.
Wait, it's all Call of Duty? Always has been.
Now, if it was 2005 and Call of Duty 2 came out and was only a whopping 4 gigs, it wouldn't be such a big problem. But we live in 2020, okay, and the games are getting bigger and bigger. Not just Call of Duty, the games in general now are ranging between 45 and 80 gigs for most AAA titles. Of course, there's some that are a little bit less, and of course, there's some that are a lot more than that, but that's kind of where the sweet spot is. So by the time you put a few games on your console, it doesn't seem like you're going to have a hell of a lot of room there. But don't worry, you can always buy the expandable storage 1 terabyte that does fit the X and the S, coming in at 359 Australian or 219 US dollars. Now, one can argue, of course, by the time that you spend that just to update the storage, maybe it was better just to buy the X because you're also getting 4K on that. Having said that, it is a cheaper option. A lot of people are jumping on the S, especially if you are able to get games on Game Pass and stuff like that, and you want to have a bit more of a subscription based, you don't care about graphics so much, maybe the S is the way to go. And of course, physical games can lighten the load, but in a world where digital is becoming more of a thing, we can expect that this is going to be a bigger and bigger problem as games get bigger and bigger. Having said that, which leads us to our next story, there are some comparisons now compared to Xbox Series X games and Xbox Series S games, and showing that the exact same game can come in a lot lower in terms of gigage because it's not going to be 4K, it's going to be 2K. Sea of Thieves, more like Sea of Memes, am I right, guys? My favorite game, of course. 17 gigs on the S compared to 47 gigs on the X. That's a 64% reduction, I'm pretty sure. That's the right math. That is actually going to be quite considerable when you are trying to load your console with as many games as possible. Dirt 5, 56 gigs compared to 72 gigs on the X. Gears 5 is 39 gigs on the S compared to 64 gigs. This is interesting. If you're able to bring that gigage down, then the 362 gig that you do get on the Xbox Series S is maybe doable. But having said that, we are going to see more and more games in the future get larger, and I wonder if that is still going to be enough. We will have to see if that becomes more and more of a problem. I do think that we're going to see third parties, as well as a lot of first parties with Xbox, continue this trend. It'll be kind of interesting to see how some games come in terms of gigage compared to the 4K versions, but we are yet to see more games come out with their actual file sizes. PT, everybody! Now to our next story, PT. Now, this was a touchy subject for a lot of Kojima fans. Konami, of course, severed their relationship with Kojima several years ago. PT was kind of the last thing he was working on with them. It was going to be a new Silent Hill game called PT. The demo was released on August 2014, and a lot of people were very excited for it. But of course, as we know, Konami and Kojima did not work out, and we know that was the last title he was working on before they both parted ways. It became a contentious thing, you see, because they took it off the PlayStation Store, but people that still had the actual file on their PlayStation were able to still play it. Over the years, there was rumors and misinformation about it being taken off entirely, and you couldn't play it anymore, but that was false. You could still, in fact, play it on the PlayStation 4. And up until recently, in October, some people that were getting their PlayStation 5 could still play PT on the PlayStation 5, but a recent update has now no longer allowing people to play PT on the PlayStation 5. This has obviously come from Konami, because Konami is evil and they don't want people to be playing PT. Originally, people were able to port it over to the PS5, but after an update, it doesn't seem to be the case anymore. As reported by Polygon, the now iconic horror game teaser for Silent Hill was seemingly playable on PS5 using a file transfer in October. However, after an update, the game can no longer be played on the new console, something IGN Japan has confirmed. My question is, what's your problem, Konami? Okay, what is your problem? Why can't people just enjoy the demo? Why can't people just enjoy the game they never actually got? I know you guys are in the gambling business, but don't you play with our hearts, okay? Nice. In other news, Miles Morales, of course, comes out, I believe, tomorrow. A lot of people are very excited for that. 2018 Spider-Man was an absolute success. We know this. It was one of the fastest selling and highest grossing exclusive for PlayStation 4 that we've ever seen. A lot of people are excited for the remaster, right? Originally, someone asked Insomniac Games, hey, can I port over my current save from the 2018 version to the remaster version? And Insomniac said this: saves won't transfer from the original game to the remaster. Why? Like, why? People wanted answers. I mean, people have already bought the game, so if they're really contemplating buying the remaster, they just want to swing around and maybe experience it again, but they don't want to feel like they have to start from the beginning. You've already kind of made your money, Insomniac Games. If you want to try and make some money off the remaster, like, I get that, but what I don't understand is how is not allowing people to port their save over to the remaster gonna make you more money? I don't get that. It doesn't make sense. So of course a lot of people were pissed at that. We didn't really hear anything from Insomniac for quite some time, and then all of a sudden they've come out with this. We've heard you. In an upcoming update for Spider-Man PS4, we will add the ability to export your save to Marvel's Spider-Man Remastered. This update will also add the 3 new suits from Remastered to the PS4 game. We expect to bring you this update around Thanksgiving. Was that so hard? Was that so hard? Look, it is good that they are listening. They obviously knew it was bad press and their spidey sense was tingling. And they were like, this isn't worth it. Let's just not worry about this and let people use their saves. It's not going to make you guys any more money anyway. If I can or cannot get my PlayStation 4 save to the PlayStation 5, it is not going to dictate if I want to buy the remastered version or not. Utter nonsense. Having said that, they're on a roll. They know that the 2018 version was a smash hit. The reviews are in for Miles Morales. It's also a smash hit in my opinion. They just didn't want this dark cloud hanging over them, and they've obviously wanted to fix this. But guys, that is it for today. Thank you all so much for tuning in, like and sub and all that kind of business. We're going to maybe take it offline for a little bit. I can see the comments. You guys do like a more polished, refined, smaller version, and I know all about that, okay? Thank you all so much for tuning in. I'll see you guys next time. Laymen out!